Okay, now we've come to the big daddy of them all. The number one, the silent killer, carbon monoxide. Each year, a carpet cleaner or a few carpet cleaners die from carbon monoxide poisoning. You don't believe me? Just go to Google and do a search. You'll see stories like 2 carpet cleaners cleaning a commercial building looked like they were asleep the next day inside the building. In actuality, they had passed away. Or a carpet cleaner's airlifted to be able to save their life in a near-death experience. Or a child or a pet who went along with a cleaner actually passed away. So I'm a big believer in never bringing your pets or your small children with you to a job. And I want to give you an experience, but it is such a powerful experience, and she feels so strongly about it that she granted an exclusive interview. And listen to her story. She tells you and walks you through everything she went through, all the symptoms, the problems she had, the concussion, through the hospital experience, so you can avoid it yourself. Hey, Rob Allen here with Truck Mount Forum. So we're going to be talking about safety, namely at this point right here about carbon monoxide poisoning and the dangers that are presented with it. It can actually even cost you your life or your health or even your business if you're not careful. And today we're interviewing Cheryl Franscico. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Yes.
Okay, close enough, good enough, okay. And Cheryl, you actually went through a situation, so what we're going to do is have her tell her story, exactly what happened. If you'll just take us right back to that day and exactly what happened and kind of walk us through it, we really appreciate it.
Okay. Well, I went to a job. There was a car that was in the way that blocked me from being able to pull from the street. So I had backed up to the garage, and we opened the garage door, and I pulled my hoses in through the garage. I mean, I didn't think anything of it. I just pulled in, started cleaning, cleaned carpets in 4 rooms and tile in 2 bathrooms. Started cleaning the tile in the kitchen, got about halfway through the kitchen, and I started feeling funny and kind of lightheaded. So thinking, it's hot, it's Arizona, I need to get something to drink. Maybe my blood sugar's a little bit low. I went outside to my truck to go get water, and that's whenever I woke up, and I was in the rocks.
Whew.
I didn't know what happened. I just knew, maybe I just got lightheaded and kind of fainted a little bit. So I was upset. I was going to call my husband, and my phone was broken.
From the fall,
and so I was
right?
like, you know what? You're right, because I fell on my back. I woke up on my back. My phone was broken, so I couldn't make any calls, and I was like, you know what? I got to finish this job. I'm almost done. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to power through it. So I went back into the home and sprayed my chemical down for the tile, started scrubbing the grout, and then I woke up again, and I was laying on the floor in my tile cleaner. I really just didn't know what was going on, and I was like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to finish this. I've got to get out of this house. I don't know what's going on with me right now. So I got up, I started picking up all my stuff, and I still just felt really, really dizzy, really, really lightheaded. I didn't know what was going on. So finally I started to walk towards the garage, and I felt myself going down. I started seeing like little spots of light.
Wow.
And then it's almost like it was in slow motion. So I started to try to catch myself to go down. And that's whenever I remembered that my watch on my smartwatch makes phone calls.
Nice.
So I started just flipping through stuff, and I saw my husband's name and pushed the button. Wasn't 100% sure if I even got him. I don't remember talking to him. He said that all he heard was me crying and screaming for help. At that point, I remember waking up in my truck before anybody had gotten there. I don't remember getting from the laundry room, where I must have blacked out whenever I was calling, and got to my truck. I don't remember that part. My husband said when he arrived, I was laying down in the truck. My machine was off, so I apparently turned off machine.
That was
machine
good.
off.
Right.
I know. And then we didn't put 2 and 2 together at first. My husband was like, okay, I'll hurry up and finish this. My friend came, she picked me up. She took me home. She said that I passed out in my kitchen. She had to put me down on the table. We're both 150 pounds, so I'm sure my dead weight on her was very, very hard. She said whenever I woke up, she brought me to my bedroom, took me out of my clothes that were soaked in chemicals. And my husband got here and said that he had went in the house and his stomach was upset minutes after. And he's like, she has carbon monoxide poisoning. We need to get to the hospital now.
That was smart on his. That was very, very perceptive on his part. Very perceptive.
Right, and he's trained. He's a lieutenant at a prison, so he's trained in a lot of different things, and he's a chemicals instructor.
Good.
For the prison. So that kind of helped on his part. Like he put it together. He rushed home. He got me to the hospital.
I understand.
I don't really remember a lot from triage, like what was being said, what was going on. I know at one point my husband told me he was laughing because the lady asked me if I was trying to harm myself or others, and I was so out of it. He was just hoping, oh my gosh, please say no.
Right.
But I woke up in the hospital bed, and there was a lot of people in there, a lot of doctors, a lot of nurses. I was hooked up to a lot of machines. They put needles in my wrists to draw blood out of my arteries.
So they found out what your carbon monoxide levels were then, right?
Yes, so they had pulled it at that point, and this was about a good hour after, a little over an hour after I got out of the home, and I was at a 22%.
Wow, and 30%.
22.5.
And 30% is where a person passes away, correct?
At that point, it's fatal. Yeah. So in his experience, it's not normal to have that high of levels and make it out alive.
Yeah, and an hour later, who knows how close you really were to passing away. You know, it's really nice to hear a good story, right? Because every year carpet cleaners die from carbon monoxide poisoning, sad to say. And many times they'll pull their vans into the inside of the garage, and you just had yours just outside of it. And I always preach you should at least have it 20 or 30 feet away from the door, any open structure or windows and stuff like that, or more importantly, to have a good carbon monoxide tester. And we keep one on our trucks, we keep one on our safety doors. So what kind of therapy or medical services did they have to provide to get you through everything? And how are you doing now?
Well, at first they had me obviously in a neck brace because I banged my head up. I have quite a few lumps on my head, so I have a concussion. That's kind of messing with me a little bit. I have my whole left side of my body is kind of banged up. Like I have a lot of bruising, a lot of swelling. I'm going to my chiropractor. He's helping me try to work through some of it to get it working again. I have like really bad burning in my shoulder and up in my neck through my head.
You know, Cheryl, thinking about all this, it's a miracle you got out of there. I mean, first you fell in the driveway and hit the rocks and busted yourself up with a near concussion. You got back inside the house. You were exposed to it again. Somehow you got yourself out of the house, back to your truck, got the machine cut off, not even knowing what's going on, not putting two and two together. You were able to call your husband through the phone. It's almost like divine intervention. Seriously, I don't know how you made it. No offense. Right. I just cannot believe you made it.
No, and that's what they said too, and I think I just, honestly, like I was really mad. I was angry at what was happening. I didn't know what was going on, and I remember, I mean, I don't know if I was actually as loud as I think I was, but I just know that I was screaming, and I was mad, and I was like, you're not going to do this. This isn't going to happen. I don't know what's going on. You're going to get out of here. It's going to be okay. I got 4 kids at home, and a husband, and a family, and little baby nieces. I have 3 beautiful nieces and another baby on the way and a godchild, and I'm not ready to leave them. And
I heard that.
I didn't know what was going on, but I was screaming and yelling, and 6 hours of 100% oxygen being pumped into my body.
I've heard of people actually, carpet cleaners, having to be airlifted to be saved. You know what I mean? So you weren't even airlifted. You went an hour later and you made it. And what's really nice about this is everybody here can see everything you went through and the symptoms, and maybe they can go through it quick. They can perceive it quicker what was happening, And or more importantly, maybe they can prevent it. Because last thing you want to do is go through this. Hearing your story, you know, and how close you were and all the stuff you went through, and you're still healing, it's pretty miraculous, and it usually doesn't work out for that way for people. I've heard of cleaners, and then we even had a cleaner in this area here who had a family member pass away who was in the truck while they were cleaning. So you can just imagine, you know, there's just so much more to it than meets the eye, and it takes a while to perceive what's going on. Amazing you made it through it, and we really appreciate you sharing the story with us. Sure, I think it's going to help a lot of cleaners in the future, maybe save some lives, save some health and stuff like that. Very important. It's very nice of you to come on and share that with us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I thank you for doing this. I mean, it's very important now, having gone through this, that if it even saves one or more people at this point, I mean, it would be a blessing, because I'm I'm lucky, and I just want to make sure that other people know, like, this is a real thing. I didn't smell anything. I didn't smell exhaust. I mean, there was literally nothing to tell me that what I was doing was wrong or harmful in any way. So it's a real thing, and it can happen to anybody, and not just carpet cleaners. It can happen to literally anyone. I mean, if somebody's pressure washing and too close to the garage, or,
sure, good point,
you know, and hanging in there, or, you know, I don't know, a lot of gas-powered machines.
Yeah, exactly. Combustible engines and stuff like that. Who knows how many people, or how many, all of us cleaners, have been exposed, and we had the minor symptoms and didn't even know it, just by smaller amounts inside the house. You were exposed to a large amount.
Right.
And imagine, and it's probably accumulative. It can't be good for you. So I highly recommend. And I noticed you said your husband picked you up a carbon monoxide tester, and I'm going to, at the end of this video, show people one I recommend. Any of them is better than none, though. By the way, is yours battery operated, so that way you didn't have to be plugged into a house?
Yeah. My cousin, as soon as she found out what happened, she ordered it and had it sent to my house. It has batteries, so that way they can be changed. And then I think you can put a thing on here to put it on your belt. I mean, I don't know what brand it is. I've never owned one, but
right.
I'm thankful to have something now, at least, to be able to warn me in case something were to happen.
Absolutely, and that's why we on our safety doors, we have a loop on it that's made to hold a CO tester. And what I do is I have all my technicians keep it on the door, right, and keep it attached there all the time. So when they roll the door up or roll the door out, it's there every single time. They cut it on, and it'll alert them. Some red lights will flash, and it'll beep real loud, and they have to go in and out, and they'll see that. So any type of warning really makes a big difference. But more importantly, the warning she is giving right now is a warning we should not avoid. We should heed the advice that you've given here, her experience and how close she came to losing, you know, her life, and imagine the family and everybody who suffers from it. So make sure you go the extra mile. Watch out. Keep your truck and your truck mount and your machinery far away from the home. If it's anywhere near it, make sure you've got some type of tester going on. Well, Shirl, we really appreciate you coming through on this interview here. It's a new setup. Seems like it's gone pretty good. We really appreciate your time, and thank you for warning other cleaners. Seriously.
Absolutely. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Have a great day. I'm Rob Allen with Truck Mount Forums. Have a nice day.